Hi, friends. I'm going to, we're going to start in a few minutes, so you still have a moment to talk, but I am going to request that if you have a seat, that you'll come and take your seat. And if there are empty chairs, it would be great if we can move to the aisles so that folks on the sides will be able to fill in. And we'll begin in a few minutes. Hi, friends. If you have a seat, I'm going to ask you to take a seat. Our friends are going to be entering the sanctuary in just a moment. If folks over here might need you to stand up for just a little bit in order to have his mom come in with a chair. So we want to make sure there's a room as they enter in, and then you'll be able to return to your seat. And they'll be walking in just a second. I'm going to invite you just to take a deep breath. Breathe deeply. Take care of each other. And we'll start in just a little bit. When we gather at a time like this in the Jewish community, we don't say thank you for coming. It's what we do. And if Steve has shared anything, it is about how we show up for each other. Clearly, how we show up for each other. And that's what you're doing. And you're doing it today. There's a lot of color in the room that our sanctuary is not used to. And I hope that brings you a little comfort, a little joy, because that is an important part of him. Still is. Let me share a little bit of information, and then we'll enter into our service. In Jewish tradition, first of all, after our service, we'll give instructions about what to do next leaving the parking lot. We are going to go to Mountain View Cemetery right after this. For those who are inclined, there will be a police escort. And afterwards, friends and family are invited back to their home to be together and share your condolences. The family has asked, in Jewish tradition, when somebody passes, we make acts of tzedakah. Tzedakah is our gifts to make change in the world. And there are two organizations. One is Intercambio and the I Have a Dream Foundation in Boulder County. Both amazing organizations helping our local immigrant population with literacy. And you can see why they chose it. We also gather for a short service in the evenings. Anybody is welcome. And that service will be at 7:30. It will be tonight, Friday night. It will be tomorrow night and Sunday night, again at their home. Part of Jewish tradition is to say words of Kaddish when we remember our loved ones, but we should never do it alone. We need to be embraced and circled, and so we continue to show up. So I hope in your sacred accompanying that it will be not just this week, these days, but for the weeks and the months ahead to show this family that they're loved and cared for. We are going to begin with words from Psalms. The writer of Psalms in Jewish tradition know what it was like to hurt, know what it was like to feel pain, and even still had a sense that there was more in creation. And so the psalmist helps us with hope even when we are feeling devastated, like today, lonely, lost in sorrow. For Steve's love that united us in life, which death cannot ever sever. For his companionship that we shared along life's path and which continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of his heart and mind that brought us joy and happiness and is now an oh so precious remembrance. For all these and more, we are grateful. But the writer of Psalms helps us to build more connections, helps us with our kinship with our Creator, in light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death.
Psalm 16 asks that God or the presence or spirit of the universe, however you speak of something higher, always be at our side, especially through our times of greatest grief. And that can be seen or felt through the presence of God itself, or maybe even especially through the presence of our community, our family, and our friends. Shiviti Adonai lenagdi tamid ki mimini balemot lachen samach libi vayagel kevodi af besari ish kon lavetach ki lo tazov nafshi lishol lo titein chasidcha lirot shachat todi'eni orach hayim sovas machot et panecha neimot bimincha netzach shiviti Adonai lenagdi tamid ki mimini balemot ki mimini balemot.
I have set the eternal always before me. God is at my side. I shall not be moved. Therefore does my heart exult and my soul rejoice. My being is secure. For you will not leave me. You show me the path of life. Your presence brings fullness of joy. Enduring happiness is your gift. Adonai mi yagor bo halecha mi yishkon bahar kodshecha holich tamim ufel tzedek v'dover emet bilvavo. Adonai, who may abide in your house, who may dwell in your holy mountain. Those who are upright, who do justly, who speak the truth within their hearts, who would never slander others or wrong them or bring shame upon them, who scorn the lawless but honor those who revere the Eternal One, who give their word and come what may, do not retract, who do not exploit others, who would never take bribes. Those who live in this way shall never be shaken.
In Psalm 23, this very, very familiar psalm that says, God is with me, I shall not fear. I like to think of this as the presence is with me even when I fear. And that in those times of greatest fear, this presence is surrounding us, embracing us, and that it can bring a small measure of comfort to our spirits. Adonai roi lo echsar bino yarbitzeni al mei manuchot yenaleini nafshi yeshovev, yeshovev, yancheni maglei tzedek, yancheni b'maglei tzedek, leman shemo. Gam ki eilech begeit salmavet lo irara ki atayim adi shivtecha umishantecha hema yenachamuni. Taroch lefanai, shulchan neged sorarai, di shanta vashem roshi kosi revaya. Ach tu vachesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai, kol yemei chayai, veshavti beveit Adonai leorech yamim. Adonai roi lo echsar, Adonai roi lo echsar.
Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want. Giving me repose in green meadows, leading me beside the still waters to revive my spirit. Guiding me in the right path, for that is God's essence. Though I walk through a valley of deepest darkness, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your staff and your rod, they comfort me. You prepare a banquet for me in the presence of my foes. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and kindness shall be my portion all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Adonai forever. I'm going to ask Mona to come forward. Here's the words if you'd like.
Thank you. May I stand at this
Sure.
window?
You can move it. How's that?
That's great. Thank you. When Great Trees Fall by Maya Angelou. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forest, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory, suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws, unkind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms. Slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing, electric vibration. Our senses restored, never ever to be the same, whisper to us, they existed. They existed. We can be and be better, for they existed. For Steve Kless existed, and for that we are all so much better. Thank you.
Job cried out, Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai mevorach. God has given and God has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Holy One. We are an ancient people, and we are well acquainted with grief and with the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us, and yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave, and that there is strength and faith. With Job, we say, Adonai natan, God, you have given. You gave us a loved one who will never be forgotten. For all that was good and enduring in Steve's life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Job said, Adonai lakach, God, you have taken away. But I don't believe it. I could never believe that God takes. I only believe that God receives and embraces and envelops and nurtures and loves. And so we say, Yehi Shem Adonai mevorach. Blessed be the name of the Holy One now and forever. There's a story that is told of a man who spent his life carrying an oil can. Wherever he went, if he encountered a door or a gate that creaked, he would put just a little oil on its hinges. If the door was too difficult to unlock, he would oil the latch. And so he passed through life lubricating the hard places and making it easy for those who followed. And in his 63 years, Steve oiled a lot of hinges, many more than we could be aware. There are lives he has affected in profound ways through his teaching, through his listening. There are lives he lifted and he inspired and he taught. We share a couple of words from a couple of folks. We're going to begin with his brother Larry.
My brother Dave and I, my parents, Steffi, Becca and Will, thank you all for being here. I look around the room and see nothing but love. As the rabbi said, so much color. That's what Steve would have wanted. This is not easy. For any of us here. But we're here to celebrate Steve, who was a son, a brother, a cousin, husband, father, friend, leader of the band, bright, shining light, center of the universe, a community leader, activist, a sweet, kind human being. And a loving friend to so many. This room here proves that. And to the many that couldn't be here. He was known by many names. His immediate family called him Stachel Pechel. And you have to say it with a ch. Stachel Pechel. Starpy Varpin is another name. Stakar, his Colorado family knew him as Klessy, the Don, the mayor, but I think his favorite name was Steven Daddy Kless. Thank you. That was the happiest part of his life. When he met Steffi, got married, started a family, and became Steven Daddy Kless to Becca and Will. He loved his family. He loved connecting people. He loved music, traveling, reading, writing. That's his legacy. He loved his job as the librarian and media specialist, long career in education at Uni Hill. It just was a testament to his dedication to the community and the legacy of his teaching of the next generation. But again, his biggest joy was getting married and becoming a dad. The story I'll share was, it was something that he did with his family. Our parents took us on many family vacations. And the memory I have was we were on a family trip to Sedona, Arizona. And he was really excited about it, in that he had met somebody back home. And he couldn't wait to call this person, call her, and make plans to get together, and when they get back home. And that was when he first met Steffi. It was such a sweet memory. On that same theme of family vacations to Boyne Mountain, Michigan, our dad taught us to ski at a young age, something he would continue to do with his life and teach his kids. Trips to Aspen with his dad after moving to Boulder. And for those who knew him and who knew him closely, he had a bit of a mischievous spirit and questioned authority at a young age. The story I'll share, Dave might remember this as well. One night, our grandma Clara was babysitting babysitting us at a really young age, and made us to go to bed earlier than our parents made us. And so he really questioned that. I don't know how he got Grandma Clara to go outside, but he locked her out of the house. So we could stay up later. And that was Steve. He loved being a big brother. He was very protective of us and those who he loved. I don't know if you knew, but he was, growing up, he was a jock and very into sports. That was long before he became a deadhead. He was the Brush high school swim team coach. I'm sorry, not the coach, the captain. And he wore a varsity letter jacket, too. Gotcha. Thank you, brother. That was before he wore tie-dyes. I'll skip the story about the toga party, but if you want to hear it, or if you have stories to share with, we want to hear them.
He locked the babysitter in the room, too.
He locked the babysitter in the room, too. That one I didn't remember. But his journey took him many places, but the real pivotal moment was when he took Earth Sciences class. It really changed him because he was drawn more to nature. And that was when he became more enlightened. And it took him to Kent State. I skipped over, but he also was a lifeguard at the Brainerd and Lyndhurst pools. But it was also a testament to his protective nature and being responsible for kids and the next generation. But he really had a transformation at Kent State, studying peaceful change, conflict management, and then he moved to Boulder in 1985 and started his life here. He was all about connecting communities, connecting friends. Meeting and marrying Steph, and they had the wedding of the century, looking around. There's the photo of group selfie. I'm sure many of you are in it. It was such a beautiful setting. And it was the start of the big party tradition that Steffi and Steve had, of bringing family and friends all together. And being Grateful Dad was like his proudest moment. He was so proud of you, Becca and Will. He was always that soft landing space for everyone. And we're here to celebrate his life. So everyone here was part of the Kless family. And later in life, he came back to his roots of Judaism with his family. And that really focused on having a meaningful life, being present in the world. And that the immortal soul, just like the rabbi said, endures. So we're here to help him achieve his afterlife in the world to come. Olam haba. The grief we feel is the love that we feel, which will last a lifetime. So he's now our North Star. And I have to just say, Jerry Garcia was his favorite Beatle. And, for those who know him, I had a Grateful Dead lyric, to end this tribute, but it'll never end. Once in a while, you get shown in the light, in the strangest of places, if you look at it right. I thank you all for being here. Our whole family does. We love you all, and we just thank you for being here to celebrate Steve. Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Cantor. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
I just want to say a few more words. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Well, today there are no winners. We're all losers today. And I just want to say one thing. We lost a wonderful son. Cookie and I, when he first was born, he was a wonderful kid, and we raised him well. And he wanted to come west after he was graduated Kent. And he did, because that was his dream. And he did what he did. And he loved it all. And God bless him. Thank you.
Don't really have anything prepared, but I think that I would never forgiven myself if I didn't say anything. But my dad was a great man. He loved his kids a lot, and when I was younger, people used to say I looked like him a lot, and I didn't really take it as a compliment. I mean, but now I'm so glad. I have his eyes and his nose and his smile, and I know he'll live on with all of us. And he loved to teach, and he loved to be a dad and a friend to so many people. It was his whole life. He always used to talk to me about all his stories from when he was younger. And he was the best person, and he wanted me and Becca to grow up to be the best people we could be. And no one will ever replace him in our lives, but I really hope that we can grow up to be people he'll be proud of. And I know he is so proud of us and everyone. And he lived a wonderful life. And he did so much for so many people. And I'm just so glad you're all here with us, because he really did love us.
I'm going to share words from Becca. My dad was my best friend, and I can't imagine moving forward without him. He's still alive, though, in me and my brother, in his favorite ski area, in the books we read together, and the bands we both loved, and in our shared faith. My Abba has left this physical plane, but his spirit is still here. His spirit will always be here. I was sitting with Stephanie the other day with a few dear friends, talking a little bit about Steve, and so Steve liked that I had this rabbi gig. And there was this teaching that kind of kept entering my head. And I think it's because really, ultimately, it's a story of learning. Learning how to live, learning how to be a responsible member of the human family. After rejecting God's instructions about not eating from that fruit, from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, God called out to Adam, Ayeka, where are you? And Adam hid. Later, a similar call would go forth from God to other people, one named Abraham and another named Moses, but neither of them turned away. Each would respond with one word, Hineni, here I am. I am present. I am ready to do what needs to be done. Somehow, as time had progressed, the descendants of Adam and Eve had begun to understand what it means to be fully human. We must feel a sense of concern and be driven to act upon the needs of others, both family and stranger. Steve understood and lived that purpose, and he lived it fully. And by the model of his life, he taught that purpose to us. I enjoyed getting to know Steve better and better over the last few years. He came almost every week to our Shabbat service on Friday nights, and he would sit right over there, same spot, all of the time. And it was always something powerful. In our Friday night worship service, there's a prayer for healing and wholeness. We call it a Mishaberach. And he would have a list, and he would share it out loud. Probably a lot of you were on that list from time to time, thinking about how you needed some presence, some love, some prayers, some strength, whatever it might have been. And often during that Mishaberach prayer, you would see him get a little emotional during the service, after the service, sometimes before the service. And we would talk. We would talk about my messages, my sermons, justice in the world, the ones that we needed. We would talk about what it meant to find faith again, some grounding again. And whatever the conversation was about the care that needed to be lifted up, he always talked about his family, his love for his bride, although he never told me that his suit was made out of hemp. That I learned the other day, and there's a photo of it that I encourage you to look at. He would light up when he talked about Becca and Will. He was so proud of the young adults you are becoming, so moved by the paths you are each choosing for yourselves. He saw who you are now and who you're becoming, and he loved you both with his whole heart. And I loved learning as well that there's a whole tribe of you who are his fans. Whether you called him Klessy, those other names that I can't say, or even you called him your Rebbe, because he led a mean Passover Seder. But more than any of that, in the Jewish community, you hear somebody who's really righteous, we'd say that they have a good neshama, that they're just a good soul. He is a good neshama, a sweet and gentle and generous soul. There are so many more hinges and locks in need of oil in our world. But Stephen has given us a great gift. We can follow in his path. We can be the ones who will provide the oil. We will respond to the calls for justice. We can be a sacred presence in somebody's life. And we can make the call to love with the only really appropriate response. Hineni, here I am. I am present, and I'm ready to do what needs to be done. We're going to move toward the end of our service and our